am Baddu from FreeFinCal, and I want to talk about a surprise decision by Mirae Asset to change its Mirae India Equity Fund to a large cap fund. It will now be called a Mirae Large Cap Fund. We'll talk about what should investors do, and we'll also look at the performance of this fund. This is a article I just published today. You can have a look at it. The link is in the description box. Before I begin, I wanted to tell you that in the evening we will have a guest video by SEBI registered fee only advisor Avinash Luthria. He is from my list of fee only advisors. You can see the list of fee only advisors right here. Avinash is a person who understands what he's doing. He understands risk and he understands investing well. I have a lot of respect for what he has to say, and I do request you to please tune in the evening to catch this video. So if you can, of course, get notifications if you subscribe and press on that bell button. So this is a surprising move because it's just been a year, in fact not even a year for many funds, when they fell in line with SEBI's categorization rules, and it seems too soon for this change because investors have only recently realigned their portfolios, got used to the new fund types and so on. So for this change to come so quickly, it's rather sudden and quite unwelcome, I would say. The CEO of the AMC, Swarup Mohanty, has been arguing about or justifying this decision on Twitter. So his arguments on Twitter were, he says the fund was a large cap fund for the last 4 years, and it can still hold 15 to 18% of mid caps. And he also says the growth in AUM was one of the factors that they had considered, but there's only about 10,000 crores. There are other funds in this category which have got much more than that. But if 10,000 crores is too large for a multi-cap fund, I mean, then I don't know what would be a large AUM for a mid-cap fund. You can see many mid-cap funds with that much AUM. So the problem is that if you look at the scheme document, if you look at the fund one-pager, the brochure, if you look at their website, it is classified as an open-ended equity scheme that has the freedom to invest across large cap, mid cap, small cap stocks. It has always been a multi-cap fund with a large cap tilt. That's not a problem. But it clearly says that the fund manager has the freedom to invest across market caps. Well, first of all, I don't know why the fund management did not change that stand across for the last 4 years, and why it had to be a mid-cap oriented fund when the AUM was pretty small. The AUM has actually almost doubled in the last 1 year only. It was quite small in the last few years. So even then, when with such a small AUM, it is baffling why they chose to be a multi-cap fund with a large cap tilt. And you can't say that just because it has been a large cap fund for the last 4 years, don't worry, it will continue to perform the same as a official large cap fund. Well, there's a difference between being a large cap fund by choice and being a large cap fund by mandate. Because I will today, last week, I can't do it today because I know the news. Last week, if I wanted to choose this fund, I would have looked at the scheme document and I said, okay, it has got this freedom to choose across mid caps, and okay, I understand it's a large cap-ish kind of multi-cap fund. That's okay with me. But if you suddenly say after I start investing, it is going to, it has been large cap, so don't worry, you will get similar performance. That's not acceptable. See, let's make it very clear what I'm trying to say. Mirae has the right to change the fund mandate. There's no issue there. But you do not justify that change by saying last 4 years it has been large cap, so you can expect similar kind of performance. That is not acceptable. Because let's have a look at the performance. And by the way, it has changed this benchmark from BSE 200 to Nifty 100, but that's really not much of a change because the returns are not too different. So let's look at the returns for every possible 5-year period. There are 3 benchmarks in the colored thing. The red, which is buried here, is BSE 250 large mid cap. Nifty 100 is the light blue, Nifty 200 is the pink. The fund in question is in white, the India Equity Fund, now the large cap fund. You can see that the white line towers above all the three, and you can see there's not much difference between the three benchmarks. This is over 5 years, but since the CEO has said it's been the large cap is in the last few years, let's look at that. But before we do, this is a rolling risk, that is the standard deviation, and you can see that the fund here is, I forgot to change the color, the fund here is in blue, and you can see the blue line is kind of below the other benchmarks, but it kind of merges with the other indices in the last couple of years. So although it has been a large capish kind of fund, the risk has been high, and that's not acceptable in my opinion. So let's look at the risk in the last 2 or 3 years. And you can see that this is over last 2 years, and you can see here there has been decent outperformance up to this point, more or less, except for a small patch here, it has been okay. But then it has kind of merged around with the indices here, and you can see a closer look here. This is zoomed in over since May 2016, and you can see the outperformance is here, and then it kind of vanishes around this point, or at least decreases in this point. This is over 2 years. And you can see over 3 years is much more significant. There's a decent outperformance here, and then it kind of vanishes out during this last couple of years. So the other problem is, like I mentioned, the rolling risk. The risk is worrying because here the Mirae fund is blue line. You can see that the blue line, it should be, I would expect, if the fund has become large capish, I would expect the blue line to be lower than the large cap indices, but that's not the case. The blue line kind of merges with the Nifty 100 and the Nifty 200. That's not acceptable. I mean, if you want to hold a large cap, more of large cap stocks, I expect the volatility to be lower than Nifty 100, and that has not been the case for the last couple of years for this fund. So will this fund work? Will Mirae large cap fund in the new avatar, will it work? I think as of now there is no evidence that it will be a better large cap fund. I think as of now, if you look at the past 2-3 years evidence, I think it will behave just like any old large cap fund. I see nothing special about it. All large cap fund can hold up to 18% of mid caps and small caps, so there's nothing special about it. How else will they beat Nifty? They are not going otherwise. If you have just started investing in this fund, and I saw so many people comment that they have just started investing, clearly they would have seen past performance, clearly they would have seen the category, so they would feel annoyed by this sudden change. So if you have just started investing in this fund, ask yourself if you have another large cap in your portfolio. Now you will have 2 large caps, the existing large cap and this Mirae fund. Decide which large cap you are going to hold, and choose one large cap, that's up to you. Get rid of the other and start investing in just one large cap. But if you are a young investor, follow this link inside this article. You can combine Nifty and Nifty Next 50 in many ways to create large and mid cap index portfolios on your own. There are many nice ways to do it. If you are a young investor, this is what you should be doing. Stay away from all these active funds. They are a pain in the ass because they keep changing. If you have been an investor for a few years, then I will talk about my situation because I am an investor in this fund, and you can take a call based on that. If you have a small allocation, don't invest anymore. Keep it small. Just observe performance, and then you can take a call. But if you have a large allocation, you can consider what I'm going to talk about. So I have mentioned this in my audits, my financial audits, and I have been investing in this fund since December 2015. A good amount of 38.5% of my equity allocation for my son's education is in this fund, and the current XIRR is 14%. I don't think you can get that kind of XIRR with just large caps, so it's not that's my opinion, but from pure large caps. So it's not just been a pure large cap. My other funds are, of course, HDFC Prudence and ICICI Multi-Asset. I have not been investing in this Mirae fund since September 2018 because I wanted to increase exposure in the ICICI fund. I like the multi-asset mandate because it gives me guaranteed lower risk. That's important for my goal because I'll talk about that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm tired of these changes and I cannot suddenly push that change 38.5% of my corpus from this fund because I'm annoyed with this change. So I'm going to let this Mirae fund be my primary large cap. I'm not going to invest any more in this. I'm going to increase exposure to the ICICI fund. But I'm doing this for many reasons. One is I'm tired of these guys. My portfolio is a little bit larger than typically many new investors, I would say. And also, for me, risk protection is very important. I am okay with a large capish kind of portfolio because I've got I don't need to invest any further for this goal, although I am. Therefore, my aim is preservation of this corpus with decent returns. So for me, low volatility is very key. Therefore, I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep these keep these units as such, and I'm not going to invest any further in it until at least for 1 year. I'm not going to do anything. Then I will look at the performance. Then I'll decide what to do. But for now, I'm not going to do anything. And I think you should also take a similar call. I'm not the same call, but a similar call, looking at your goal, and then evaluate whether you want to invest further or you're going to keep these units. That is in the case when you have a large exposure like mine. For other cases, I've already talked about, or you can read the article just about. So that's essentially what I wanted to say. Please let me know what you're going to do if you're holding this fund. And by the way, if you are just considering investing in this fund a couple of days ago, don't invest in this fund anymore. There are other multi-cap funds. You can look at my mutual fund reviews and you can decide for yourself. So please let me know what you're going to do. And that's what I wanted to say in this video. Thank you for listening as always. Catch you later. Bye-bye.